Understanding and being honest with yourself about what you're capable of, what you're not, what things are going to really stress you physically. I mean, certainly mountains that we are climbing when we're 25 years old are a lot different when we're 55 or 60 years old. Um, and there are certainly some, really intense terrains in this area as far as hiking and mountains. And so understanding that and having a really good idea of where you're going to be hunting and what challenges, you might face as far as getting an animal out of the woods, um, that can be a significant task. So yeah, I think that that's an important thing to maybe discuss, or at least for each hunter to think about, what they're capable of, what they're not, and try to be prepared for that. Number one would be a cardiovascular event. Somebody who has underlying heart disease and they are unaware of, the significance or the severity of that. And when they, go to hunt and they exert themselves, they are stressing their heart more than they have for a whole year or longer, and they could have a heart attack. And so that would be, probably the number one thing that we normally would think about in that regard. On the same sort of pathway, high blood pressure is something that oftentimes can go undetected for a long period of time. Somebody might not really have any significant symptoms, but if they have high blood pressure, they're physically exerting themselves while they're hunting, climbing mountains, etc. It could tip the scales as far as having an event like a stroke, and so that would be another concern. Diabetes and uncontrolled diabetes, which again oftentimes can go unrecognized for a long time, months, even years, if it's not really checked for or screened for. Get in shape. That's going to be key to preparing themselves. I think that sometimes different things can present themselves while you're hunting. I mean, I've hunted for a long time, and sometimes you expect to be exerting yourself a lot, doing some hiking and things, but then there's other times where things change. You end up, hiking a mountain that you maybe didn't expect to, and that can really test you physically. So, getting in shape would be crucial. Preparing from a standpoint of being well hydrated, understanding the importance of having adequate fluids, being well prepared from a clothing standpoint to ensure that you're, going to be warm enough while you're hunting. And then, the other part of the prevention aspect would be having a visit with your primary care provider, having the appropriate labs, EKG, those sort of things done to understand what your overall risk is. Adequate fluids would be important. Good, healthy, nutritious snacks, to get through the day, to have enough energy and, those calories to make it through a long hunting day, which sometimes can be, a 12-hour day in the woods. From a safety standpoint, hunting with somebody else is a really good idea. Trying to avoid being in a situation where you are alone and unable to communicate with anybody is important. So fortunately, there's great ways to stay in touch with people these days as far as cell phones or GPS devices, radios and things. In case something does happen or changes, then you're able to communicate that and, get some help.
We're opening up again, so you don't need to put your healthcare on hold. We're open to see you for in-person appointments. Open with extensive precautions for patient and staff safety. And open with rigorous cleaning and disinfecting at all locations, from emergency departments to primary care offices. We're open and can see you now. UPMC, life-changing medicine.